Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hiba.
And I'm Zaid,
You're listening to Diary of a Matchmaker.
a podcast that will take you into our world as matchmakers.
We'll share our experiences and offer advice for the single Muslim.
So let's dive in.
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Matchmaker. I'm your matchmaker, Hiba, and on the other mic is my husband, Zaid.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
So this episode is the first of two episodes where we go down memory lane and we just try to think of some mistakes we did when we were looking to get married and just share these experiences and see if you guys can benefit from them. This first episode is dedicated to Zaid's mistakes.
Yeah, this episode required me to really think hard on what I did wrong, where I could have really saved a lot of time and heartache. So one of the first mistakes that I can think of was not identifying my deal breakers early.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's kind of, I guess, a catch-22. The reason is because your deal breakers are something that requires time, right? You go through different chapters in your life: university, your first job, your first promotion, etc., etc. You go through rejections after rejections, and then over time, you get a clearer idea of what you're compatible with and what you're not compatible with. So in that way, it is kind of, I don't know, would you say it's a catch-22 where it's important to identify it early, but you can't identify it early because it requires time?
Yeah, I think you're right. So how early or how late in your journey did you start identifying them?
That's a good question. I think closer to when I was maybe 30.
This is the cat scratching his paws, his claws.
Yes,
So
this is Hiba's birthday gift. Yeah, so when I was right around 30, at that point, I was very much, I had my heart set on theater.
Mm-hmm.
And not fitting into the conventional or the norm of what people were seeking for in terms of marriage, right?
Yeah.
The professional degrees, the six-figure income, the master's degree, all of that stuff. By 30, I told myself, I just don't see that happening. And so with that in mind, and me pursuing yoga and what was my third deal breaker?
Respectful of the arts.
Respectful of the arts.
Active.
And
take somebody who takes their deen seriously.
And takes their deen seriously.
Well,
yeah.
look, I remember.
Yeah, you remember my deal breakers better than me. Or I think non-negotiables would be a better term.
Well, at least you had deal breakers. When we talk about mine, you'll discover the first one I did. Not having deal breakers.
So yeah, I was clear about that. Between maybe 30 to 32, 33, I was pretty clear that these were the things I wasn't going to budge on.
Okay. Did you have any doubts in your mind that you'll actually find somebody?
Yeah, I did. And I think that's part of the reason why it took so long to get married, because finding somebody that was okay with these things took time.
Okay. Well, I guess I feel special in somehow.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, friends and family would always feel. One of my close friends would tell me that I would never find somebody who would be okay with the arts. I was like, okay, it is what it is.
Well, speaking of the arts, just 2 days ago, we attended a play at the Stratford Festival. And I was mesmerized. Like I was high for 2 days on that beauty. And I'm like, if I haven't met you, if I haven't been introduced to theater, then I would have missed out on something really special. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, and number 2 would be?
Chasing any proposal that comes along.
Mm-hmm.
For I feel like it's harder for guys and then girls, because guys are more sexually driven than girls are,
Mm-hmm.
naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then there's a saying that comes to mind, which is a person who doesn't stand for something falls for anything,
Right.
right? So if you're not clear, and we've said this over and over again in so many episodes, if you're not clear on your values, on who you are, on your goals, your expectations, given that they're grounded in something realistic, then you're just gonna. It's like a mouse chasing the cheese. He's just gonna keep going after the cheese because he's just chasing what's dangling in front of him,
Yeah.
right? So, if it's important that you take those steps first, otherwise you're just gonna keep chasing one proposal after another and not realize why you're getting rejected or why you're miserable and things just aren't working out for you.
Did you ever chase proposals that you knew from the beginning they're not gonna work? This person is not right for me, but for some reason you ended up chasing them?
Many times.
Really?
Many times.
Wow.
That's one of my biggest regrets. I can think of many proposals where, to be quite honest, I wasn't even attracted to the girl. But out of desperation, out of just social pressure, I don't know. It was just many reasons, like the fear of loneliness, fear of missing out, all those things that just kind of create levels of pressure on you that force you to make stupid decisions.
I wonder if any of the guys who are listening can relate to that.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'm sure there's guys out there who, out of desperation are just chasing proposals and not really giving it some thought.
Okay, so number 1 was not being clear on your deal breakers. Number 2 is chasing proposals that
Any proposal that comes.
proposal, and number 3 would be
carrying the right mindset. Understanding it is a long journey that requires patience. This was definitely one of the toughest things for me. Just like most people, I would get high going on a matrimonial website thinking, okay, yes, I'm going to put the best picture I have. I'm going to embellish my profile, and inshallah, I'm going to find somebody. And then that high would kind of just die within a month or 2 months. And then I would pause my subscription. And then that high would come back. Then I would attend a matrimonial event and think like, okay, something's going to happen. I would get so excited, right? And then I'd get depressed afterwards. And so I just didn't, because the thing was, I kept seeing people around me getting married, and I failed to realize that everybody's on their own journey, right? Some people, they'll marry their high school sweetheart and they'll be married by 1920. Some other people, like me, when did I get married? 34, right?
Yeah.
So you can't, comparison is the biggest killer, right? And that's as we all know, one of the dangers of social media.
Right.
People posting their pictures of their wives, of their husbands,
It's
of
hard.
their first or second kid, and you're thinking, when is it my turn? When is it my turn?
It's hard not to compare it seriously when it's something you want so bad.
Exactly.
And you're trying hard, and like you said, you see it blasted on social media.
Exactly.
Like, you become bitter at some point.
Yeah, and we have to understand that we plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners.
SubhanAllah.
So trusting in Allah's plan, and most importantly, being patient with the process. And I've said this before. I share my story in the workshops that when I got married, that alhamdulillah, it was the right time for me to get married. And had I met you earlier, it would have been, I don't know if it would have worked out, because I just wasn't at the right place to get married at that time. So Allah blesses people when the time is right. And yeah, that was one of my mistakes.
Well, it's important not to confuse though being patient with not being active.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 4.
Yeah, this is a big one, read the profile before looking at the pictures.
So your mistake was that you didn't read the profile.
No, not necessarily. I think the mistake was that as a guy, we're more visually driven, right? We're attracted to beauty and the aesthetics and stuff like that. So I would see a girl's picture first and then determine whether or not I want to read the profile.
I think girls do that as well, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, if I'm not attracted to the picture, so why waste? Not waste, I guess. Why spend time going through their profile?
Well,
Which,
vice versa. It works both ways, right? I mean, if if I don't find the profile interesting, then why waste time with the? No, wait, that's what you just said.
No, I said if you don't find the picture attractive, then why waste time going through the profile?
Right.
But the other way,
If you don't find the profile attractive, then why waste time reading?
Yeah,
looking at
well,
the
usually
profile?
it doesn't happen this way because seeing a picture takes a second, right? But reading
Yeah.
a profile.
Yeah. So the point is that when you read someone's profile, you will find things that you are attracted to. But beauty can be blinding, especially for guys.
Yeah.
And if you're just going straight to the picture and just ignoring the profile, or you're just looking at her age, her picture, hey, does she kind of fit into what I dream of? Then you're letting your emotions drive the process, versus your values driving the process.
Right.
So going back to my point is that when we introduce matches in our service, we're very strict about introducing the match through their profile first.
Yeah.
Who they are, what their goals are, what their expectations are,
Why we think you're compatible.
why we think you're compatible, what their deal breakers are, their religious expectations, all of those things, because it paints a picture in their mind.
Exactly.
Right? And then they can move ahead and see the picture. And does the picture, have they already developed an attraction based on the values that we've shared? And then inshallah, hopefully, the picture can align with that. Right, the video introduction can align with that.
That's actually why we started the video introduction thing, because we noticed that many times people just, the moment they see the picture, they would either say yes or no and just forget about what we shared on the profile.
Exactly.
But when you see the person talking and you see the way they express themselves, the way they carry themselves, their smile, their voice, right? Even the voices makes a difference.
Yeah.
So they could become more attractive in your eyes. And pictures, a lot of times they can be deceiving, whether for good or bad.
Yeah. So for guys, definitely, as hard as it is, I know you guys just want to go straight to the picture, and trust me, I was the same. Try to resist that. Read the form first. Try to get an understanding of their values. And if it's a girl that just puts one or two sentences, then seeing her picture isn't really worth your time, because she's not investing in her form.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if she's got a really dolled up picture, but her profile is just one or two sentences, then that's a red flag.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
for some people.
Yeah. Take the time to read the form first and then go to the pictures.
Actually, we should dedicate an episode.
Or profile if you're on a matchmaking website.
Yeah. But we should dedicate an entire episode in the future, inshallah, about how to navigate matchmaking apps and websites, like how to make the most out of them.
Yeah, I'm sure we could share a lot about that.
Inshallah. Okay, and last but not least.
This was a mistake I've made more than once. Have the courage to leave a courtship early if you know it's not going to work. And you just asked me that question, right? It is. I feel like this is a harder one for girls than guys, because they can get emotionally entangled.
Yeah,
right?
Get dreamy and just think about the wedding and the future and stuff.
But it also does play a part with guys. Guys, out of desperation, they'll just hang on to somebody that shows interest in them, right? A girl reaches out to them, and they might be lonely. Maybe they rarely ever get somebody that's interested in them. That was the case with me, to be quite frank. And
same here.
and you hang on to that because you
Mm.
think you don't know if somebody else is going to come along,
Right.
right? So you just want to think maybe this is the best that I'm going to get.
Mm.
So it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of faith to step away, to step back and say, I'm honestly like with all due respect, I just don't feel an attraction here, or I don't think this is going to work. I wish you the best and just walk away
Mm.
rather than letting it linger. And I've made that mistake in the past where I've let a courtship linger for longer than it should have. And yeah, that was a huge lesson for me.
Okay, well, when it's my turn to share my mistakes, I'm gonna share something very similar, um, that I'm sure many girls can relate to. But like thinking about all these mistakes you did, do you think now, like if you weren't married and you are looking right now for somebody, you would have this clarity, or you would do the same mistakes again?
It's easy for me to say that now,
I guess
right?
it's an unfair question. Yeah.
Kind of. I think it's hard to keep your emotions and desires in check.
Hmm.
Um, and not all of us have the discipline of Yusuf alayhi salam, although I wish I wish I did. But I think yes, I would be crystal clear about my deal breakers. So that would save me a lot of time and heartache.
Hmm.
Um, I would understand the importance of being patient. Um, Not letting a courtship linger on more than it has to. Ideally, yes, because I've learned from that mistake. So, so yeah, I think I would be more tactful in my approach at this point in my life if I was single.
Okay, I guess with age comes wisdom.
I guess, although I don't consider myself a very wise person,
Oh,
but
I thought you were gonna say I don't consider myself an old person. Okay, so we hope any of the listeners could relate to that, whether it's a guy or a girl.
yeah.
We all make mistakes, and if you can work on just one thing that would make your journey easier and bring you closer to finding the right person, then we've done a good job today.
All right. Till
Yeah.
next
Till
time.
next time. Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.